You are tuned in to the Foul Weather Podcast, the forecast to your next successful hunt. Coming to you from the home office, Jack's Reef, New York.
My friends across duck country, a great interview from Hatchie Coon Hunting and Fishing Club in Arkansas, where we were last week with the Foul Weather team. And after that, hang on, because we do still have our exclusive duck migration forecast at the end. And I ask this of you, go watch this on YouTube as well, because there's full video with great footage. So enjoy. So we're back with Chris Beckman, better known of Beckman Game Calls if you've listened to the podcast a bunch, down here at Hatchie Coon Hunting and Fishing Club.
You got it.
In Arkansas. And we had a little bit of a hunt today, I'd say.
Yeah.
We killed a few birds.
Yeah.
It was slow.
Yeah.
Chris blew, you blowing a Beckman Game Call is totally different than me. So I do, we had a whole conversation about there's this whack, whack at the back end that, I know that sounded weird, but there is something you're doing that's different from everybody else on that call. I'm still grunting into it like an old J-frame. That's my problem.
I heard a little bit of it today.
I did try to, I saw you. You're really polite about it, though. You're like, you sound great. I was like, yeah, I'm working on it. But it's very different going back and forth from them. But it is a sweet blowing duck call. It really, I like the comment of like, hey, once they start working, we can slow it down to like one person calling that's really working the birds. But when they're circling, 3-4 people on them, to keep that sound getting that attention makes a difference. And you can see it. It was impressive to see them pull down from, not the stratosphere like migration, but they come down pretty quick through those trees. Yeah. So it was pretty good.
I wish there was quite a few more, but it was a little
enough
slow.
To keep us busy. I mean, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
When I'm like, oh, it's only 8, but we hadn't shot a bird till 8:30, I think, something like that. Yeah. So stuck it out, scratched them out. Gadwall played here and there. Had some sneak in on us. I killed at least one.
Yes, I witnessed that. You were the only
no
one
one shot except me.
Except you, so we can claim it 100%.
But what I appreciated about it is I couldn't just clean kill it on the first shot. I had to scare it into position, which is just a joke of mine.
I wasn't going to mention that. It did take you 2 shots, and the duck was hovering over the decoy.
It was stone dead when it was dead. It was going left to right.
Okay.
It was moving. It wasn't backpedaling. I can kill backpedal. Anyhow, he gave me a full choke too. I usually shoot mods to improved, so it's different. I get it. But we ended up with 8, scratched out 8, shot some widgeons, shot some greenheads. Only shot 1 hen.
Yeah, out of all of them.
Went through the wing stuff with
a hen widgeon,
not mallard. Adult hen widgeon. Yeah. Went through how to age sex by wing and stuff, which was fun. So I enjoyed that a bunch. That's always fun to teach people on. And I'm still not even. You're like, this is amazing, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not even close to an expert compared to other folks that are really good at, with all the wings, all the different species.
I was completely impressed. You taught me a lot of stuff, and I've been hunting these things for a long time.
Well, and I think that's one of the things. I feel like hunters feel like it's not as accessible, and we do try to, as biologists, as teachers, we try to get this information out, as much as possible. But I tell you, like when I was a wildlife biologist for the state of Maine, I'd stop at a gas station. You would be afraid to get out of the truck with a state emblem on it, because all people want to do is run up to you and be like, "Hey, biologist, tell me the answer to this," and it's always something wild. It's not like a basic question. And you're like, I don't even know how to start with this one, but it is nice to have the time one-on-one with folks and go through this stuff. I mean, I'm a teacher at heart and just love the questions. And Chris, again, that's, always one of the things I love about you is just the good questions y'all have in general. But I've had a lot, we've just been asking questions all along about this place.
Yeah. Because
the history's cool.
Yeah.
How long y'all been here? What's all the history of, not all the history, let's go 1,000-foot level. Let's keep it like 5 minutes of Hatchie Coon and kind of why you became a member.
Yeah. So I'm fairly new here. I've hunted public land my whole life. But I was a guest here, and Hatchie Coon actually started in 1884. And so if you can contextualize this, 1884 was before Game and Fish was even a thought.
Before Arkansas Game and Fish existed. Yeah.
Before there, I think migratory birds were even federally protected.
Yeah.
So, 1884. That's a long time ago.
There was a trolley that came in here, or tram or something?
Yes, very cool. They would actually bring the hunters over on the railroad, and then they would have a trolley that would actually motor
It's
them
like a
in.
car thing or what?
Mm-hmm. It's very cool. It's called a tram that they
Tram?
use. Mm-hmm. And so, it bring them in. Now remember, this is before central heating and air.
Before
Before gas-powered motors. So these guys were roughing it.
Well,
still chasing.
Yeah, but
ducks.
there's pictures of them. They're like bow ties and suits. So I'm not thinking like they stayed out there in the cold weather as much, possibly.
Yeah.
We called them punters. So folks that would like push polio around the marsh.
Mm-hmm.
So no gas motors and stuff as we went out in today.
So they had paddlers back then.
Paddlers.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And they'd push them around the river, and they actually imposed their own limit at a certain time of
Duck limit.
Yeah, duck limit of 100 ducks a day. So I can't imagine shooting 100 ducks in one day, but it must have been
I think I've processed 100 ducks in a day. I don't even know if because working with students and all that wildlife management areas, you kind of you do check station stuff. I don't know if I've ever checked 100 ducks in a day. So from everybody, let alone one person. So yeah, that's some crazy stuff. But that's an impressive date. And to have that as a contiguous club till now, and the camaraderie here, the focus on, I guess I'll use the word holistic, right? You got the Bill Dance Lake.
Yes, we had a fishing lake that was built by Bill Dance, supervised, and then it's really family-oriented club. So we'll have fishing rodeos for the kids. We'll bring families and friends out to do that. We do so much. Wounded warrior hunts, we'll have them over. We also built a sanctuary for ducks.
We went and looked at it tonight. Nice moist soil, not crops. No, just straight up moist soil.
No corn.
Ducks just piling in. And totally in violet sanctuary.
Right.
And then some flooded woods next to it as well that is also, used to be blinds. So you gave up like 3 blinds, I think, to make sanctuary.
Yeah.
And you're working through bringing consultants in to look at it, to give you some, some pointers on how to fine tune your moist soil as well.
And the reason I bring that up is because I've said before, like, high tide raises all ships. So anyone hunting around us in the area are going to benefit from us having those ducks there. So. You see them all do it. Game and Fish does it with all the public land that they have.
There's always almost always a sanctuary.
Almost always a rest area for the ducks, if you think about it. And I mean, it's the key to holding the ducks in the state. So.
Producing food and giving them a safe place, and then they redistribute. They don't just sit there; they redistribute around. Right. So and I chatted about it as we're sitting there looking at the moist soil. I'm like, you got a lot of bottomland here. You got flooded ag fields around, but those nutrients that come with all those weed seeds in the moist soil aren't as abundant on the landscape. So you guys are providing something really unique in the area too, that the birds need, and probably just definitely holding more birds. I mean, I guarantee you we weren't too far from it today. And I guarantee you some of those birds moving around that we saw are making their living on that, and that's why we saw them. So yeah. Those are good things, man. Good things. So I don't know. I'm just going to dive right into one because I think it's a fun topic. It's on people's minds because Senator John Kennedy wrote a letter to Fish and Wildlife Service, I guess officially asking them to study the effect of, we're doing flooded corn, Chris, sorry, on duck migration, the effect of flooded corn and duck migration. And, I mean, this is coming from a senator from Louisiana, kind of based, I think, on pressure from constituency. And I do have a cue card here, and all it says is, thoughts?
Man, so I'm 42, right? I got to hunt as a kid in the early 90s and then all the way through the 2000s, and I watched, DU come in, and they built these awesome refuges up and down the Mississippi Flyway, and you had kind of the duck hunters that were split, like oh, they need to let us hunt it. You know, it's sanctuaries for ducks, and you know, and hell, we're doing it here. But I can only think like with Louisiana, and you hear the term. I even heard it back then. Short stopping ducks, where you plant all this corn, you plant all this north of us. That's what's holding the ducks north. And I don't know, Mike. I mean, I kind of want your thoughts around it because I can only hear. I'm not in the professional scientific community like you are, and so I don't know how much weight that is. I know it might carry some weight, but I know it's 70 degrees, 65 degrees outside, right?
Yeah. I was surprised we weren't swatting mosquitoes today.
Yeah,
it was a south wind, 20 miles, 30 miles an hour all day, and got to 75 today, I think.
Yeah. And I know listening to the Foul Weather podcast, I mean, you're a big proponent, obviously, of weather moves ducks. They're not just, what is it?
Photoperiod
alone. Ducks, right?
It's a lot of things, though. We're open about the fact that it's not just weather as well, but it is a factor,
right? And I think corn plays a factor, but I don't know how much of a factor. And so I know Louisiana, which I love Louisiana. I live in Louisiana. It's just I've seen the deterioration of specifically mallards.
Mallards,
yes, to the state now. There's a lot of ag differences that have happened over the years in Louisiana. They've changed, the practices have changed, and then you've got the coastal marshes that have kind of deteriorated away. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of X factors, and I'm not saying that corn isn't one north. But,
that's fair.
But I'm curious your opinion of.
Well, so here's where I typically go with it. We chatted a little bit about it today, but we got flooded corn in Ohio. We got flooded corn in Michigan. Right, way up the flyway. We got some right down the road from me in the Montezuma region. And all those places are frozen like a brick, and they got good snow, and there are not ducks walking around eating any of that. Now, you put it at more of a mid-latitude, it kind of goes back and forth, but some of your friends today we were out there hunting with asked me about, like how bad has the weather been this year? Well, Columbia, Missouri, which is kind of the epicenter of some of this discussion of flooded corn and holding stuff up, in our calculation of our weather severity index, hasn't had numbers that have hit anywhere near, well, I shouldn't say anywhere near, got near the threshold that would start to cause some mass exodus of mallards, right? That doesn't mean there's no mallards down here at all.
Right.
But those folks just aren't hitting those values at all to push those birds out. So there is a food by weather factor there. But if they run out of food at that mid-latitude, do they have to go south? They don't. And they go east-west lots of times. And so I continue to say, and a lot of our work shows that, man, these birds are just taking advantage of the weather and the resources that are given to them. And if their food runs out right north of you, they're just not going to. You don't know that they're directly going to come south. They're going to mill. They generally mill around on that line. They do a lot of east-west stuff too. So making a big kerfuffle out of one crop, first of all. So what are you going to do? I mean, I don't know. I kind of read the thing, and I got to dig deeper into it. I got inundated on the plane coming here yesterday with social media stuff. Did he dig into anything else?
He did mention something that kind of sparked my attention. The avian flu.
Oh.
So that's been a concern over the last couple of years,
sure.
Especially in snow geese, right?
Yeah. Wood ducks it seems to hit at times too.
Yeah. And he did mention,
there's a mosquito.
There you go. There's proof that it's
65
to 70 degrees.
So, yeah. Just landed on his shoulder.
But he said, is it good practice for us to concentrate so many waterfowl together on these big refuges or private properties and hold them there if avian flu is such a detriment? And I saw that in the letter, and I thought this would be a good thing to ask you because you're familiar with the flu. Your colleagues have obviously done a lot of research around it.
Yeah, I've done all the swabbing, all that stuff with birds. Helped USDA Wildlife Services with a bunch of this stuff as well. Yeah, that's a good one. I think when we, if this is mallard centric, and we're talking about mallards and concentrating mallards, there's a couple things in that are a little that I guess don't really matter. Mallards, we had mallards on the thing today, and he said something about bird flu, and I'm like, well, those 3 mallards over there either have antibodies for bird flu or they have it right now.
Yep.
And I'm not going to quote the exact numbers, but wild mallards out there just get bird flu. They don't die from it. They carry it. They move it around. They recombine it, stuff like that. But they just genuinely survive it, right? Mm-hmm. Some other species are susceptible to it. But, what do we do in other places? We got less land than we used to sustain the ducks on this continent. And if anything, we need more habitat on the ground to spread them out, for sure. Mm-hmm. But concentrating them, I don't see how this is going to cause like the next worst thing with bird flu, right? I mean, heck, growing game farm mallard, we're not going to go down game farm mallards. I'm just saying growing game farm mallards in pens, of which wild mallards show up into, and that possible recombination of bird flu in a game bird setting is like a chicken farm.
Yeah, that's a good example.
And then here's the one I get to too, is like you have to start to think about the other things this affects. Well, now, if we start talking about it in the avian flu sense, we have to ban ducks to track the population of waterfowl. Mm-hmm. That's a thing. Banding data have been used over nearly over a century, I think, to really monitor waterfowl populations, and it's used in our decision making. It's how we've learned everything that we have almost as far as population modeling for mallards to know what we should set as limits, and that harvest really isn't driving this stuff, and we should focus our efforts elsewhere. So now we're getting into the thing of like, well, we're not allowed to concentrate birds, so now we're putting corn in a trap to catch ducks. Can we not do that now? Because it's a bird flu problem? That's a slippery slope, man. Yeah. So there's a lot more to this than just, that makes sense on the surface, and you dig into it. Yeah. It's a non-starter for me. For the most part.
You said something earlier today that kind of caught my attention. You said every duck season that ends, it could be, there's no guarantee that we get another duck season until we prove that we can actually shoot limits of ducks to maintain the population.
There's a lot of people that don't know this, and that kind of feeds off of like the data that we need, right? This goes
the banding data, the GPS data.
I went through like how to age and sex by wings, and went through a bunch of things. Everybody's like, well, that's a juvenile shoveler. Yeah, somebody did shoot a shoveler today, by the way, here. So
did.
Everybody was kind of like not talked about a lot, but I was like, it was a juvie male. He's like, oh, I thought it was a female, and we had a few other birds folks thought were females.
To the layman's, it did look a lot. Fine. It looked a lot like a hen. Yeah. It really did. And I've seen a lot of them, but you were quick.
It was a scruffy duck. So we got into like the whole. We got a really good question, tons of good questions about parts collection survey, harvest information program, all that stuff, where you send your wings in, and how you answer your HIP questions and all that. And what a lot of people don't know is at the end of duck season on Federal Register, the federal documents, is closed in perpetuity until you can show that you can have a sustainable harvest of ducks. And the way you do that is through all these data, including banding. And so, in my opinion, we got to stay behind that stuff, keep after it, and in some shape, manner, or form, make sure we have that, because, like adaptive harvest management are like swear words to some people. But you know what adaptive harvest management has done? It has provided a very stable system of which PETA, Defenders of Wildlife, nobody has sued the federal government over duck season since that happened. I don't want to get into it, but like, let's just say, I'm just going to throw out the word gray wolves. I'm pretty sure there's no lawsuits over that.
Yes.
So, like, we are in very good hands. And are those data perfect? No. Are they good enough to make decisions and keep us in solid seasons and have all these opportunities? Yeah. So, all the bickering about and shooting holes in these things that folks do try to make, it's kind of hollow to me in general. So, and that kind of brings me, to the corn stuff back. And we're bringing back to corn, by the way. You ain't getting out of that this easy. I see that letter from Senator John Kennedy, and I just wonder, like, is this a real concern for the ducks? Is this a real concern for the constituency? or is it a political move for votes with things coming up in November?
Yeah.
In my sense, just from me dealing with politicians through my years, it's about votes. And so I don't think folks should look at this at face value and be like, this guy really cares about ducks and duck conservation, like a lot of us on the ground do. So I think where I go with it, Chris, is like, you read this stuff and you're like, man, yeah, yes, that's what I want. That's what I believe in. But look at it, think about it, talk to people. Because when you drill down to it, there's a lot less there than I think people want to make out of it in general. So, thoughts?
Well, I'm curious to see how it goes. I don't know where we go from here. I do know, obviously, with a lower population of ducks overall. I mean, every time this happens, we've been doing this for a long time, and every time the population dips, it's like the voice gets louder. In 2005 or 1999, it's like the spinners are going to ruin duck hunting.
That didn't happen.
2005 came, we had a huge dip. I told y'all the spinners were going to ruin duck hunting. We went on a bull run from 2005 to 2017 with the population of ducks, right? 2018, somewhere at 16.
Yep.
Had the most ducks on the landscape then, all with spinners. So I just see we pick and choose these things, especially from a coffee shop, social media platform, and we try to. This is the reason,
and we want it to be one thing.
Yeah, this is the sole reason. We've got to fix this problem, and I think we have a lot of things that we need to work on. So that's kind of where my head is. It's not just corn.
Yeah.
It's not just weather. It's not just the number of ducks. It's all this stuff combined.
Yeah. And when it's a perfect storm, it's what happens sometimes, and everybody's going to try to find a scapegoat in that one kind of silver bullet when it's always more complex than that.
Yeah.
The one I don't know if that's where I was going with, like, I read it, but it seemed to be very corn centric. And some clubs are like, we don't even plant corn anymore because the deer get into it. It's an expensive crop. The blackbirds pick it apart. If snow geese get in it, they hammer it. Coots just demolish corn in some spots. And so some clubs are just like, we're doing Milo or sorghum, whatever folks want to call it, Milo. Most folks down here call it. So we're just doing Milo now. And I'm like, okay, we're going to ban every flooded crop? Like, that seems pretty ridiculous from the conservation standpoint. I don't know if you got all the way through. Chris is a loyal listener, but I don't know if he got all the way through the corn episode with Heath Hagee, and went through. And he was the waterfall biologist for the southeast region there, and he went through, like, would we be in a deficit for food in some places without planting crops and refuges? Man. And he's like, yeah, it's a conservation tool as well. And pulling that tool out of the toolbox and throwing it away completely, it's dumb.
Yeah,
it's just not a smart thing to do.
I couldn't agree more. And there's something else you said today. You said, when there's more ducks on the landscape, we have spillover effect in public, because those places that are holding a lot of ducks, whether you may be mad or happy for them during the low years, they are going to hold those ducks in your area on the good years to make you more successful. Ducks Unlimited has proved that with all the refuges they've made throughout the years. I mean, we've seen it. I mean, every WMA that I have hunted growing up always have a rest area for ducks, somewhere where they can sit and be calm and safe. So I don't know, like you said, I don't know the silver bullet, but I think this all changes with more ducks on the landscape. Now, does the Louisiana change? I don't know, because there's a lot of things that have changed in the state of Louisiana for ducks specifically. So. Yeah.
And I hate going back to it, because if this is a mallard thing, I mean, a lot of this is, we did the research on this, and we've warmed since 2018. No, take that back. Sorry. We've warmed since 1980 to 2018. That's when we kind of finished our study on, how the weather that affects duck migration has changed. And we have continuously warmed, and who's going to take the brunt of that first? The people at the southern end of the flyway.
Absolutely.
Right. And then I think in the past few years, like, we started to feel that Arkansas felt that a little bit. And And one of the things we also need to realize, some people are like, well, whatever about the weather. Like, if the corn wasn't there, they would come south. This decline in the numbers of birds coming to some of these locations happened before the larger scale flooded corn on private lands to the north. So this was already happening as well.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it is complex. I mean, we are the Fall Weather Podcast. We put out the weekly predictions of duck migration, and I'm still not going to tell you it's only weather. Right? So then all I ask other people to do is be like, accept that it's not just corn. Because it's not in any way, shape, manner, or form. Yep. And for that matter, why do we want more regulations on what we're doing?
That's a great point.
I
truly would love to see a study that shows that, corn is the only reason why, ducks aren't frequent in Louisiana anymore. Let's see the study first before we start regulations, because I'm with you. I'm all for less regulations. I think we can police ourselves.
Yep.
And if we don't,
I like that.
They will police us.
Yeah.
So.
And I tell you this, ducks are still, in the last 2 years, so we've been doing the podcast 3 years, and social media was blown up, and I got a lot of messages, and we produced an episode that was, where are the ducks? And the listenership was through the roof.
I listened.
I know you did. I could produce an episode that says, where are the ducks tomorrow? And I bet you would get 50% of the listens, because it's a colder year and there are ducks here. And the non-mallard ducks are in Louisiana. They are. Mm-hmm. To a larger degree than they have been in past years. Mississippi's data shows, ducks are in Mississippi in larger numbers than they have been the last 5 years. They're still below the long-term average, which you would expect given the low population across the continent. But if it was a real problem with corn holding ducks up, some of those ducks that are making it to Louisiana, the wimpy ducks, they still eat corn. I don't know if you've been in a cornfield before, flooded cornfield, but I mean, a shoveler will sit in a cornfield and eat. Yeah. I remember sitting in Missouri on the public land up there in the Boot Hill when I went to school there, and yes, I shot shovelers. I backed off them. Oh, I've knocked down a few.
I think I heard you say earlier today when you saw that shovel, you're like, oh, I don't shoot those.
Not anymore. I graduated beyond it. But, we used to, with the Mississippi State kids when I was there, they would rent catfish ponds. And I'm pretty sure you can shoot a shoveler on a catfish pond. Hey, so
we're not prejudiced in Louisiana, so we'll shoot.
Oh, yeah, no. The state of Louisiana shoots more ducks than the whole entire country of Canada, so on an annual basis. So they're still killing birds. But I feel you, man. If I didn't have my greenheads, I'm not a greenhead purist, but you saw me clean some birds today, and I like really plucking prime birds, putting them on the grill, and I'm still a big fan of the greenhead, how they react.
Absolutely.
You make duck calls that attract other ducks, but it's the mallard, right?
Yep.
So so you hold up, this is fun. So you make these basically to order. Like, people put orders in, you make them, send them out. So you shut down during duck season to duck hunt. You quit making duck calls.
Yep.
When you start back up, so people can look you up and order something from you.
Well,
hopefully we don't inundate you too much.
No, it's fine. I think I would drive myself crazy if I had to. No offense to the game wardens, because we need them, but it'd be like being a game warden during hunting season. That's my favorite time of year, and it would be hard to work any job during that time frame. Mm-hmm. So I had to take that time. I have to every year.
Personally, for your own well-being.
Yes.
Yeah. I get that.
But I'll kick back up February 1st.
February 1st.
Yeah, I got a lot of messages about guys asking about things. So we got a lot of fun stuff coming for 2026 too, some new stuff. So.
Oh, heck of a deal.
Yeah.
So that's all well and good for you, but a guy who runs a podcast kind of has to work through duck season. So you enjoy your time off. I really do appreciate you having us down here.
Absolutely.
Getting to meet you personally after all the time on the phone with you. And what I really like that you do is, and we'll end with this, is you look at the landscape of what's going on in duck conservation, you look at the social media, you look at the information out there, and you call people. And you're like, is this right? Is this what's going on? And you do like investigative reporting for yourself to then kind of make the best decisions as a duck hunter. And that's how I developed a relationship with you, is you called me and said, hey, I really appreciate what you're doing. Can you answer some questions for me?
Yeah.
And it just went from there. And it was just super open-ended and a great conversation. And we don't agree on everything.
Nope.
At all.
No. But
that doesn't bother me one bit. I appreciate the back and forth for the most part. Now, your buddy that thinks that radio frequencies affect how ducks move around the landscape and that corn and trees give off signals, that might be a little different. I can't answer those questions. But most of them I can answer, right? So I do appreciate that. So thank you, Chris, for being a part of my world and having us down here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're hoping to finish it out with a few more hunts that are a little better than today. But hey, we're still getting a duck hunt.
We'll give him heck. You'll blow a duck call like sounds like a hen mallard, and I'll be a little embarrassed in the background trying to keep up with you. So thanks, buddy.
Coming up, your duck migration forecast for the week. But first, I gotta say that I am entirely sick of the corn conversation. Somebody asked me last week, are you sick of the corn conversation? And all I replied with on Messenger was yes. The level of stupidity by folks is astonishing, and I'm sorry if that hurts your feelings, but please listen and hear me out. To think that a duck crafted over millions of years, a duck adapted to survive and reproduce, a duck that is a food-finding machine picking the best place to stay and survive winter, if you think that banning corn is going to solve your duck hunting woes, you, my friend, ate too many paint chips as a kid and have likely graduated onto crayons. Okay, all right, that's a little harsh, but listen. And when we say duck, we mean mallard, because for sure folks in Louisiana are still shooting more non-mallard ducks per hunter day than any other state, and more than the entire country of Canada each year, and yes, that includes non-residents going to Canada to hunt as well. And this is not raw data. Yeah, some states have more duck hunters, but those more duck hunters also shoot more ducks than other states per unit effort, which is worked into this information as ducks per hunter day. Ugh. The fact that this has even been elevated to anything other than a laughingstock is a stain on duck hunting. The approach being used is actually typical of raging liberal behavior. As conservatives, we should be like, hey, government, stay out of my business, but instead you are also a hypocrite because you ask for more government regulations when you think it will benefit you, which it will not. The level of stupidity and hypocrisy is astonishing. You literally got a U.S. senator to write a letter to the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service that was filled with fake news. Great. Now we waste valuable time on a subject that deserves zero attention because you aren't getting yours, when in fact you should probably be finding ways to support habitat conservation at home and on the prairies. But instead, you just created a giant vortex of speculation, lies, and conspiracy that is going to suck the energy and time out of everyone trying to do the real work for the ducks. And look, someone may be asking why I'm bashing waterfowlers. Come on, that's a classic defense mechanism when you've already done something egregious and then simply turn the tables. And that logic don't work on me. We also saw a TikTok thingy where some guy, not really sure who it was, some anti-flooded corn guy, was saying he was invited on a podcast to debate the corn stuff, but won't do it because the other guests, including myself, were too much for him and it was unfair. Unfair? You simply sling mud at flooded corn with fake news. Don't tell me about unfair. If you have a backbone and your information is correct and not fake news, then who cares how many other people are on the panel? Just step up and debate someone, would you? Lastly, and I'm done with this corn nonsense, if you can't get it together and ask the U.S. and state governments to actually protect and restore wetlands, then don't strip the wildlife management toolbox of crops. The best policy people in the country have stated to me, and I quote, "This is a huge distraction." Period. That was the comment by text. Probably not the last time we're going to talk about this on the Foul Weather podcast, but I wish it was. My suggestion to all the keyboard heroes out there, leave it alone. Don't give it any attention because it is and will be dealt with swiftly and strongly. And now, I don't care about a bunch of retired curmudgeons that sent a support letter for the letter from John Kennedy. They're just complicit in their ignorance about migratory bird conservation and management and the legalities of the MBTA. Old guys supporting fake news. That's all it is and should be looked at as what it is, just poor judgment on their part. Anyhow, go look at our Facebook page and scroll down a bit, because if you haven't seen them, we put together a bunch of graphs comparing mallard and non-mallard duck harvest per hunter day by state in the Mississippi Flyway. We also analyzed those data to determine which states had declining harvest per hunter day, or if that harvest tracked with the breeding population. All right, I'm done with it. I bet you we'll come back with some corn stuff later, but I'm not going to really touch it until we actually get some news. And hopefully the director of the Fish and Wildlife Service says, yeah, this is a bunch of junk, and just kicks the can. But we will see. It's in the politics realm now, folks. All right, on to the migration forecast. To be clear, I was sent videos of moist soil habitat in mid-Missouri by several listeners that don't even know each other, and it was gazillions of mallards and pintails still with open water and, you know, what looks like pretty content and fat ducks. Will the cold move them this week? Will it be long enough in the Mississippi Flyway to get them to go south in the last 2 weeks of January? The answer is no. We hit the WSI that would cause mallards to start to leave the mid-Missouri area in abundance for the first time this year yesterday, Sunday, with a WSI value of 14. And tomorrow, Tuesday, that value will hit 15. At that latitude, it takes a WSI value above 12 to start to get them to move south in abundance. But for comparison, the home office in Jack's Reef hit a WSI value, hold on to your shorts, of 51 by mid-December, right? So we got a lot different stuff going on in mid-Missouri. So don't let a few cold snaps fool you. It gets worse when you go to the Central Flyway and then downright dumpster fire in the Pacific Flyway. Places like Wyoming and Colorado do hit cold enough to move mallards later in the week and towards the weekend. So that is best bet in that area and south of there, and potentially after the thaw, but again, just nothing spectacular. Some of the Intermountain region hits a WSI that could move mallards, but I'm looking at a WSI of 13 right now, and into early in the week, a little bit of cold. But it may move some non-mallard ducks into the Central Valley, Sac Valley of California for the coming week. But again, nothing spectacular in the Pacific. I'd focus on early in the week if you're Pacific, because everything gets really mild later in the week. Again, also remember that the snow line is basically at an angle from northeast Montana across at a 45-degree angle to mid-Ohio, and then due east to the Atlantic Ocean. So just not much going on that would interfere with field feeding by ducks. But best bet for the Mississippi Flyway back there would be Wednesday on the thaw with a stiff south wind and some potential rain. And then again on Saturday morning with some of the same, stiff wind, but from the north. In the Atlantic Flyway, I think we are looking at a bit better situation than the other flyways, but local weather in Maryland, Delaware to North Carolina regions at best is going to help that duck shuffle with some temperatures dipping and north winds kind of in the mid-teens, like 15-mile-an-hour winds with some higher gusts around 20. As you head farther south in the Atlantic Flyway, meter your pressure. But potentially Thursday is a reasonable day for some duck movement. Yeah, we are in that part of season where it takes some pretty serious weather to move ducks, my friends, across duck country, and that just ain't happening this week. So do your homework. Pick those low sky days with high winds, but be safe and have fun. Go enjoy the ducks wherever and whenever you find them. And as always, may your skies be filled and shoot straight, my friends.